Today we are here for the mini lab, and I don't know if you guys looked at the email. I know we rarely look at emails, we're just invited for things and they're like, oh, there are cool people who are going to be there. So I'll just go and then see what happens. So the summary for this mini lab is, this is a full day workshop to promote digital skills, entrepreneurship and vocational training in Kenya. So basically we are all coming together to discuss how we can improve digital skills, entrepreneurship and vocational training.
When you look at the current statistics, and the recent report from the Kenya Federation of Employers, they say that young people within the ages of 15 to 34, 67% of them are unemployed, right? And so that's a very huge number. But we are having right now access to digital platforms that can offer employment. Right now you have seen young people creating content. If you go in town right now on Sundays, you'll see a lot of young people doing digital activities like photography and filming, and you're going to platforms like TikTok, right? But the challenge you are seeing in this field is that sometimes the income is not sustainable. They're just doing it, but it's a bit subsistence, and the government has not enacted active labor policies that can enhance that. A platform right now like Upwork, if you want to bid for a job right now, you have to compete by paying. I don't know whether you guys know that. So we need the government to create active labor policies that are able to support young people on these platforms, especially for Kenyans, to increase accessibility, to support them in terms of providing access to digital devices. Right now, people in the rural areas have less access to internet, but there is Starlink that has come in. Right now, if you go to areas like West Pokot, you can actually do train and people can access the internet. However, if the government does not support such incomers like Starlink to increase access to internet, then young people still continue being behind. And again, the level of artificial intelligence is going a little bit faster than we as people who are accelerating that. So some of the things I wish to see in digital skills is just sustainability of income. It's not that today you are doing content creation, if a job has opened, you're already applying for the job, you're confused whether you are a digital creator, you want to go into employment. You should create something that's a bit sustainable. When it comes to entrepreneurship, a lot of these young people opening companies, they fail almost the second year. We are seeing young people who do not understand the customer. So for me, I'll wish to see a bit of training on young people on how to understand the customer first, and then credit comes second. Lastly, on vocational training, I think the country has made a lot of strides on this in terms of vocational training. Right now, there is something called recognition of prior learning, meaning that today, for instance, I am a photographer myself. This is something I've learned by just experimentation. If today I go to a technical training college and I tell them that actually for me, I have learned this on my own and I need a certificate. You can be given an assessment through CDAC, right? And that assessment, if you pass it, you can actually get a certificate that can help you to excel in your field. This is something that the government should be able to take up very proactively to support young people who are doing content creation in town to have a certificate that can help them get jobs even internationally.
Embracing skill as a language, that if I go not only in Pokot but in another country with the skills that I have, we'll be able to speak the same language. And this is what I mean. We need to be in a point whereby we are taking community knowledge with academic knowledge, integrating them together to achieve this three thematic area. Because working in such area, I realize they have a lot of community knowledge that they bring into our academic knowledge that I didn't know. Empowering them with digital skills need a lot of government support. In one community center, at least let there be a government laptop that people can go apply opportunity. There is internet. If people are empowered by digital skills and they understand the community resources that they can use to elevate and earn through it by digital content creation.
All the stakeholders that are involved in youth issues to make sure that the resources that we have in urban centers are cascaded down to the grassroots or in the rural. Because what we know at the moment is that there's a lot of meetings like these that we're having here in Nairobi that will never be done in the rural. And that means the rural youth or the rural population are missing a lot. Or if it reaches there, it reaches in a very complex manner. So how, again, do we break what you're speaking here so that when it reaches the grassroots, it is impactful, but not just vocabularies and mouthful words that can only be understood by us who have probably been to complex institutions and all that. Why I'm saying this is because you realize that many youth in the rural will want to come to towns for them to get these opportunities. They'll see them on TV, they will hear people talk about them, but not really interact with them. So there's a very big gap between what we speak, what is written, and what reaches the ground. So we need to be more intentional and more practical about what we speak here.
The government should create for us opportunities, okay, training opportunities. And these opportunities should be, of course, based on merits. Okay, it should not be like because I do not know someone that knows someone, okay? Because in our informal settlement, we do not have anything, any youth organization that the government is supporting. Why? Because maybe we do not know someone that knows someone that can speak on our behalf, okay? But again, if at all we could be given, of course, fair ground, okay? And then, of course, if there is any opportunity, at least, it is based on merits, then, of course, that will be better. So I believe the government should be so intentional in empowering us equally, okay? Because there's no way we can empower Nairobians, okay? And then, of course, forget about West Pokot. Yeah, so it should be an initiative of not the county government, but the national government.
Just as we know, Kenya, with issues with unemployment, you have to find your footing somehow, some ways. You have to get confidence and look for opportunities whenever you can. There's that point in life where you have to, it's called planting, yeah? Discover what you're meant to do, embrace the process. It can be difficult, but somehow when you get that thing that you're looking for, that when you do it every day, even if it doesn't bring you money, it gives you that peace and a sense of comfort and that drive that you get every day to pursue it, and like knowing deep down that this makes me happy.
What I do is we work with universities and TVETs to prepare them for the marketplace. You guys are aware that about 1 million young people join the labor market every year, but about only 10% can find jobs. In Africa, I think it's estimated to be about between 12 and 13 million. I think the biggest challenge we have is a mindset issue. If we can be able to deal with the mindset, everything will fall into place. If you can have mindset times skill set times tool set, you will become an asset. We need to have money knowledge. Let me tell you, I run an organization, but it is hard to fundraise. And I think what we need to do is to be able to just get to even the lowest places like primary school and teach these guys about money. It is serious. We need to do research. I feel like we don't have data. Today, we can't have the right data to be able to make decisions, like this program of connecting young people to jobs abroad. We don't have data. We don't have data today to be able to inform policy and even our interventions. So my one wish from this program in terms of digital skills, entrepreneurship, and vocational training, can we be able to organize and just do research in our different aspects?
In the legal profession, there's the element of impact and profitability, and it brings the complex of how do you source for fund, or how do you get funding for this. And I think that's where the entrepreneurship element of it should focus on, like how do we fund especially the young and upcoming law firms, because those ones have the time.
We have to accept that Kenya as a society, we still don't have a platform for the youth to acquire skills. So learning a skill is very important, and the schools should embrace this. Even the society itself should embrace this. We should start it at a tender age There's a stage you reach in life, you cannot do certain things. But as we grow, it is good that you involve yourself in this activity before you've overgrown to such stages.
When it comes to digital skills, I would love to see a lot of people with disability being involved.
DEV is development, is dev, is short for development. From a global landscape, this is something I had shared with Esther. Right now, if you can access the fundamental skills and you're able to access the others, that's why we have something like School of YouTube. If I'm able to link, let's say if I'm a writer, or even I'm a mamboga, I get to, let me use someone who's cooking. I get my fundamental skills and I'm able to access YouTube. There are some things now I can teach myself there with cooking and more skills, right? I have my certificate maybe from Microsoft or all over, and these things are free and they're there. People just maybe don't know. Then I'm able to navigate and grow. And for someone like me who's an entrepreneur and I like impacting, I'll go to my community and I'll say, nasi niliona wale watoto hapo wamaliza form 4. Why don't I even partner with someone to wafundishe tu hizi digital skills ama tuambie pali iko. Then you find out you've impacted 20 people. Then you tell them, go tell your friends, this thing is online. Unafanya nini holiday? Why don't you come and do this course at this particular time? Because I know some people when they finish a lot, even me, I finished high school, I was idle for some time. Yes, there's so much that can be done.
I'm the only teen in this group. I would want nikitoka pale nje, niende nje, and I tell my fellow Gen Zs that are out there, kuna vitu nimelearn 1, 2, 3 na tujiendeleze.
I would wish every girl in this nation and worldwide to be able to access menstrual products very easily without them forgoing their dignity. And then digital skills, I think I'm an all-round person in this because I work digitally. I'm also an entrepreneur. Actually, my brand is about to launch. I want to start producing the Zen pads, like locally, so that we are able to now reach the underserved in our communities.
I have a background in biomedical science, but I'm making that huge transition into tech. So all the tech heads, let's connect and grow.
Elizabeth mentioned, it's about strengthening the bilateral relations between Kenya and Germany. Now that trends have changed and a lot has changed, how best can we go about this relationship? And so this is a research that started a little while ago, I think September, October there, and these are some of the findings. So maybe I can just read so that I don't miss anything. Okay, so I'll read the summary of the trends and synergies so that you get a grasp of it. And so the summary, the Kenya-Germany relationship is characterized by shared objectives and broad range of cooperative areas that contribute to both countries' strategic goals, key synergies. So some of the key synergies include economic and environmental synergy. So this is Germany's investments in renewable energy projects in Kenya, both economic and climate resilience, renewable energy initiatives, reducing emissions, providing job opportunities, and promoting rural development, aligning with Germany's environmental goals and Kenya's economic priorities. The second trend that was part of this research is youth employment and digital transformation. So this is about programs focused on youth employment and digital skills. Training address Kenya's high unemployment rates, while supporting Germany's interest in building skilled labor pool in its partner countries. Then we have migration and workforce development, which is labor migration agreements, providing pathways for Kenyan professionals to gain skill acquisition. So these are the key emerging trends that are emerging from economic and environmental, youth unemployment, and migration of workforce. These are all under economic. So this is the summary of the key trends that we're going to be having conversations under and giving our feedback around. First of all, do you agree that out of these subject areas, that's political stability, economic growth, social development, and digital transformation, and environmental resilience, which one do you believe is the most important area that would be of great relevance to Kenya right now?
digital transformation, a digital way that can contribute to the environment, and that environment can contribute to economy. Like the interweb, but for me, environment because we live in it. If we don't take care of it, or if we don't produce things that will be friendly to it, it automatically turn against that at some point.
Economic growth. Even this bilateral agreement, of course, I believe at the end of the day, it's aimed at, ensuring economic, growth and stability of both countries. Okay.
If the country is at war, everything always fall apart. Even the investors from other countries who wapendi kukuja, for example, Kenya, because there is. So we find that it affects economic growth, it affects environmental resilience, and also social. Yeah, so I feel like political stability is more important.
Political stability, but just maybe to broaden that point. And I look at example of countries that we look at their political situation vis-a-vis Kenya. Kenya, we will say that politically we've been somehow stable. Kiasi up to the point that Gen Z Apro came. And looking at what happened during that Gen Z period, you realize that there's a lot that Kenya lost in terms of investment, in terms of talk of social development, the people that were lost. If you put people within that bracket of social development and all that, the business that were lost, laws are made by politicians and political heads. So if they're not able to make laws and have regulations that can actually regulate everything else, economic growth, social development, digital transformation, then you realize there's nothing that can actually happen. So if you ask me, the key and the most important for any organized setup, that's the government, the family, everything, has to be stability that is brought up by the people in power at that particular moment. And so that's what we need in Kenya even now. And that's probably what the German and Kenya relationship should be looking at mostly. How stable are we politically? Is our environment so stable to the point that they are able to bring in resources for development?
My contribution to this topic is I'll say that for most of us, when you talk about political instability, we think about elections. Well, political instability is not elections. Political instability is about the policies that people make that make the situation of the people that are living in better. Right now is the policies that they make. For instance, look at the taxation policies that the government has been bringing up. If these policies do not favor even the economic growth of business, then the businesses will go down. So my contribution is for probably German and Kenya relations. Germany can increase support during the election period, because that's where we've noted a bit of high instability that tends to diminish a bit of economic development prospects.
Some of the diverse opinions, like the political instability, you cannot go to invest in a country that is economically, politically unstable. And just also the other view that says that the country is unstable because people do not have jobs. Do you see how they are very interrelated? But then again, sometimes it's not that people have no jobs. There are bad leaders who are actually stirring conflict among young people. So there are just so many perspectives to look at, and all those will now be captured as your feedback. Yeah, so transforming digital skills into income generating opportunity. Do you believe this is something that can have a huge impact among young people? Or what do you feel about this as a solution to empower young people? Yes.
So what I can say is there's one thing having infrastructure, and there is one thing having accessible and working infrastructure. There's one thing also training, and it's also one thing again connecting these people to opportunities. Even after you've trained these people, they need support to access digital opportunities, right? So there's one thing for Kenya government or development partners connecting these people to skills, and there's one thing helping them access to these job opportunities. So what I can say is for Kenya and German collaboration, German can try and probably have a bit of these companies which are in Germany to bring some of these opportunities in Kenya virtually. They don't have to go to Germany and work there. all right? The companies that are in Germany who have huge demand for workforce, they can create collaborations in Kenya in the sense that Kenyans who are here, who have gone through these particular digital hubs and they've got trainings, they can work in those companies directly. And most importantly, it will be sustainability for those jobs and ability for them to earn a decent income. So when we have such collaboration, it means that we can even have an export processing zone that established here in Kenya with German support, where young people go work in those places and they gain skills and they can also be certified.
And again, as Nelson says, we have very good policies on paper that we rarely execute. And I think one of the reasons why we rarely execute these programs and policies is not even that we don't have money. We actually have enough resources. We realize that countries like Germany, when they decide to collaborate with us, there's actually funding that they give. But then we lack monitoring and evaluation, where people are given funds, but we don't follow up. Where did those funds go to? How are they used? Even in the rural, because there's a lot that has been put for rural development, rural digital transformation and all that, but it doesn't reach. So as you talk about creating infrastructures, Nema, it's amazing, but then who is also manning those infrastructures? So we are not just about, we did this, but did we follow up? Was there a proper monitoring and evaluation?
Thank you so much. We are on the transforming digital skills, and we will also we have to discuss the other three propositions. So let's go into entrepreneurship programs tailored to high potential industries.
The ideal customer is where we have a challenge to talk about entrepreneurship. The ideal customer has moved online. So many people are now doing businesses online. Most of the entrepreneurship programs that are in Kenya right now, they tend to focus a bit on credit, access to capital, which is a good thing. However, I don't know if you have read a research of how many these programs that have given people credit, if they have made a success. There's a big challenge, and that's something that needs to be studied even further. How come someone says they needed money to make it in business, but when they're given the same money, they still fail in that business, right? So there is need for innovation and a bit on digital marketing, in my understanding. Right now, people who are in TikTok, they are making a lot of money if you understand how to make content and attract people to your business.
So how do we help people to understand the market, to understand that it's not about what I love, but rather what does the market needs? Because when we all understand that a particular market or a particular demographic or a particular space needs a certain service, then it's easy to come up with a business idea that can actually meet the needs of people rather than kujibamba. So tutoke from tunajibamba to actually giving a service.
Flexibility. I think a good example that keeps me happy every day is Ken Poly. We all know the plastics from Ken Poly. Those people keep on evolving. They are flexible. From their product, you could see they usually go to the ground. Most entrepreneurs, they set up a company, employees done. They forget about ground.
Let me come to your page because you tell stories of how you went from point A to point B, how you made your product from scratch. For example, if you're producing something, like for my case, I want to produce pads. So if I'm to bring you on board, I'll go from where I get my raw materials to how I process to packaging to me sending. So if I come to your page and get that story, if I'm going to need a pad, you're going to remember me, as opposed to her, for example, who just came and told you buy. So if you have a storyline, please put it out there so that people can follow.
We need to build a foundation. And the foundation is, what is your solution? Is it sustainable? And then now, can it be able to attract the kind of funding that you need?
Also, policy should never be ruled out because issues to do with overtaxations of any business, regardless whether startup or anything, okay? We may have all those trainings and all those skills, but with poor policies, we will not thrive.
There needs to be a standardized curriculum. If the Kenyan government is saying that we are thinking about sending people to Germany, Germany has its standard of what a basic education should look like. And the problem that we have is people who make policies and have ideas, and then they do not think about how that is going to reflect later on. And what's happening is, in Kenya, we are sending out labor, but the labor that is going out there is going to drive buses, you know. But if you want to send out people who are going to get into specialized skills, then our education system needs to sit down and say, at this level, if someone is getting into mechanical engineering and whatever, and they want to go to Germany, they need to have read this, this, and this, and this, so that when they get to Germany, the skills translate.
In Europe, they have what you call a European standardized education. And it doesn't matter if you go to school in France, in Germany, in Netherlands, in whatever, it's comparable. They've worked hard enough to standardize and compare across the countries, so that my high school in France is also considered high school in Germany. Our high school in Kenya, it does not automatically translate into high school in Europe. If we really are serious about pursuing a partnership in education, we then have to really think about how do we prepare our system so that it integrates smoothly. And there I think there's a gap. The secondary thing that I also want to emphasize is not so much just the quality of your education. Language is a topic. Germany is German. They speak German. And yes, your course in university might be in English. Nowadays they do have. So you'll apply for, I don't know, undergraduate or master's or whatever, and the course will be in English. But where will you be living? So you immediately, the first thing you face, I don't understand how we are going to have bus drivers in Germany, because I don't know how they're going to be bus drivers, because the bus driver is the one who also collects fare. The bus driver is the one who also gives directions to people who are not 100% sure where they're going. Now when Mkenya lugha yako ni English na Kiswahili na Sheng na your traditional language, how many trailers carrying luggage on that road are Mercedes-Benz? Is it not time that we said, I'm sorry, we have a fleet in Kenya of 100, 1,000, 10,000 of those things? They should be assembled here. They should be maintained and serviced here. Then you know what they'll tell you? You don't have the people. That is what you're telling them. Come and teach us how to do it. So for me, that's where I would be going in that direction. So is it our education that has a problem? No. Is it us who are not smart enough? No. I just think we have a structural, systemic issue that we need to change about how we engage with them on certain topics. We really have to think about what is an entrepreneur, how are we building those ones, and how are we making them credible and investable? Because we have a problem. We have to admit we have a problem. So we need to figure out how do we improve our macroeconomic performance so that people consider us as a good destination for their funding.
We can go for break, and then once we come back, we'll go into our different groups to discuss further into our priorities. Though I know we're already 5 groups, so all this can be catered for. We have Brad, Diana, Simon. You'll stay on that table because most of you are there, right? So confirm you all have Manila and canvas.
They are given.
You compromise one side and one side you're making money. Actually,
That laptop is going to help them.
Community and market demand, we are focusing on the Afri-trade, not only in East Africa. The leadership, we really want to change the mindset of who our leader is. The strength will be a developed Africa. So when it's at the center, you'll find entrepreneurs will go for it. Career and scholars will go for it. Talent and skill will go for it.
We are tackling the subject of entrepreneurship training to foster local innovation. The main challenge we are looking at is how entrepreneurship has been sidelined as a subject and as a course. That becomes our biggest challenge, that we do not have entrepreneurship as part of our culture. It has not been put, ukiingia high school, ukiingia primary school, or even in tertiary institutions. You are not trained entrepreneurship as a core subject, the same way we are told about chemistry and mathematics and such. And so we think that if you can get entrepreneurship as a core subject and a core course, and this trained from an early stage, for example, in other economies like in China, you will find entrepreneurship being trained even amongst kids. The other challenge that we are looking at matters entrepreneurship is we have been trained and organized to think about us getting money so that we can start businesses, as opposed to us developing businesses and the business ideas, and then we get money for those ideas, okay? Then the other challenge that we have seen is we have poor entrepreneurship systems in Kenya. Even the current government, in their 10-year manifesto, they are thinking about how to export more labor, as opposed to how to export more locally produced innovations and products. Kenyans are generally hardworking, but now we lack direction in terms of entrepreneurship because we are either overtaxed or underdeveloped or undertrained. And so if we can redirect all those energies and match the hard work of Kenyans, then we can get closer to becoming an entrepreneurship ecosystem or an entrepreneurship economy. Our innovators are less investable now than they were 5 years ago. So if we can change that culture and build investor confidence and bring more innovators and innovation supporters, then we are likely to get to innovation as our culture. Thank you so much.
We also discussed community and market demand. Under that, we had support from the government, mentorship, relationship, method of transformation. We had research, we had coaching, upskills, continuous learning, and exchange programs. Under the SWOT analysis, our strength was partnership between international and local government.
Also, we'll have a bilateral agreement, of course, with the German government. And then, of course, also with the GOK, that is the Kenyan government, okay? And then, of course, with other partners, okay? So this is how the thing will work. So assuming the government, the German government has opportunities, or maybe companies like maybe Fila are, of course, having opportunities, and they would like to direct those opportunities to the German government. So, of course, the German government will be able to escalate that down, of course, to us. Okay. Then, of course, we link the youth that already we have trained, of course, and help develop better portfolio to, of course, those opportunities. Thank you.
So we were looking at entrepreneurship programs tailored to high industries, and we looked at challenges that we would have. So we have weak policies that go against these. We have weak structures, we have political instability in Kenya. We all know what the solution to those challenges. We need to strengthen our policies, we need to have accountability, and we need to have monitoring and evaluation.
We looked at the strengths that we have under the entrepreneurship high potential industries, and we saw we have market opportunity, we have growth in population. A lot of people take that growing population is a disadvantage because of depletion of resources, but for us we saw it as a strength, that when we have a growing population, it gives us an opportunity also to grow our capacity. So we have knowledge and skills. It has been forever said that Kenyans are very bright people, intellectuals. Wherever they go, they have impact. So that's a strength we also count on. Opportunities, solutions to existing problems. We have market demand. We have space to innovation. Yes, diverse streams to explore. To finish off our canvas, we decided to be a bit artistic, and as you can see the photo of the smiling young man, the eyes are looking up because we hope for the best. The solutions that we see, we need to embrace technological advancement, growing investment interest for the Kenyan economy. As we finish, we say our team is called Achievers. We remind you, nothing fails like success.
So feel free. Get out there, let's go out there and network. If you want to be part of such things and you're not already part of our network, please text me. I'll put you in the group so that you can always be privy to such things.
My name is Tonetta Chola. So today, being the 29th, we had an event held at the Heritage Hotel discussing the issues on the youth unemployment and ways to come up with ideas in which it can incorporate Germany and Kenya working together. So my experience has been really good. I've had a chance to connect with individuals from different fields. I've learned a lot when it comes to ways in coming up with ideas on how to be an entrepreneur. I'm hoping that as the days go by, events like this would be something that's done more often, because it truly opens up your mind to new upcoming technological aspirations or just self-development in general, especially to our young youths.
My name is Nanjira Tulo. I am glad that I came to this event, Minilab event, and I've learned so much in regards to how we can have a co-relationship between Kenya and Germany in terms of entrepreneurship and innovation. And I'm hoping that in future we could have more engagements before being able to have relationships with other nations in regards to the youth and employment and innovations.
My name is Kennedy Otieno. I'm so excited to have connected with the like-minded people from different sectors, especially the civics spaces. And we have interacted, of course, shared ideologies. And I believe that these ideologies, of course, will enable us to grow together as a country, and of course also to push our economy together. I'm so excited about the bilateral agreement between Kenya and Germany. I believe such of course will come with a massive economic growth in our country, and then of course vice versa. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
My goal for Kenya in regard to economic empowerment and development, I'd love to see a Kenya that is thriving holistically, a Kenya that every person and especially the youth are not left behind in matters development, in matters impact and all areas. At the moment, what I feel personally as an individual that works with the youth is that there's still a very wide gap between employment and the youth. Most youth are seriously learned. Most youth have the ability to make greater impacts in Kenya, but there are gaps that we need to fill so that we are able to reach a point whereby every youth is employed, every youth is contributing meaningfully to the development of the country.